Hello, friends. A few days ago, the invaders launched a Shahed drone over the Monastery of the Caves, a building that is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and was built 975 years ago by architects brought from Constantinople. It was looted and burned by the Golden Horde of the Mongols, and now in 2026 it has been attacked again, this time by the Z Horde. The monastery is one of the architectural pillars of Ukrainian identity, and it also helps transform Kiev into one of the symbolic centers of Orthodox Christians, which makes it particularly curious that the super defenders of the Christian faith from Muscovy are attacking one of the main Orthodox cathedrals in the world. Maybe the Russophiles from the Caribbean Oblast can explain to us why their idols are doing this. Anyway, a journalist asked President Zelensky if Ukraine would respond to this attack, to which the leader of Ukraine replied, "You'll see it in the news." And well, we sure have seen it. Russian air raid alarm video. You know what's coming. What you're looking at is the Moscow Refinery, one of the 10 largest in Russia, turned into a blazing inferno. The scale of the damage becomes clear as the camera pans, showing us how multiple sections of the facility were hit and are burning. On Thursday morning, Ukraine carried out a massive air operation against the Moscow oil refinery, located in the southeastern district of the city. The attack involved hundreds of drones in several Russian regions, representing one of the largest assaults launched against Moscow since Russia began its invasion more than 4 years ago. Thick columns of black smoke rose into the sky from the facilities operated by Gazprom Neft, and they were clearly visible from much of the city, and I imagine also from the Kremlin. The Russians reported that the incursion consisted of 2 waves. The first consisted of reconnaissance drones that acted as decoys and cleared the way for the second wave, which was the attack group. The city's air defenses intercepted around 194 drones over the Moscow region. But considering that the swarm was made up of more than 400, several managed to reach their target, causing fires at the refinery, which supplies 40% of the fuel consumed in the Monastery capital. At the same time, operations at Moscow's 4 main airports were suspended, affecting hundreds of flights. In addition, according to Ukrainian reports, the attack included a combination of systems such as high-speed Morok drones, FP-1 and AN-196 Luty drones, Bars cruise missiles, and the Ukrainian version of the Russian Shahed drones. The footage of the incursion shows us how chaotic the morning was for Muscovites. For example, in this case, we see how a Ukrainian Morok-type drone quickly flies toward the refinery. These drones are much faster than the FP-1 Luty, which we can clearly see. The first time they were observed in the city of Moscow, the difference in speed was noticeable. We also see the Russians launch an anti-aircraft missile at it, which appears to have caused the now famous Moscow UFO. Apparently, even portable anti-aircraft missiles went out to chase UFOs, because this one disappeared while its supposed target kept flying calmly toward its destination. I think this was the most epic footage of the whole day, where the top plate of a highly flammable fuel storage tank is launched at what I would say is at least 150 meters high into the air by the force of the explosion. With this, we knew the day would be filled with adventure and excitement for Ivan the Invader. Unfortunately, another recording of the same incident, filmed by some Chinese tourists, shows us who was responsible for launching the roof of the oil refinery tank into the stratosphere. It wasn't a Ukrainian Mosquito, but one of Ivan's stray missiles, which, having missed its target, kept flying until it hit something, which in this case was one of the tanks that was filled with high-octane gasoline. One of the innocent raiders was a short distance from the refinery when he was intercepted by an anti-aircraft missile from a Panzer battery, crashing into an apartment building, causing a huge explosion and the resulting fire. A positive effect of this raid is that thanks to this attack, Moscow is finally starting to look more and more like Mordor. Something that caught my attention from the images of the attack is that about 70% of the videos I saw were recorded by people who apparently speak Arabic. In this footage, they show us how a mobile air defense group manages to intercept a Mosquito using an SA-7 Igla anti-aircraft missile launched from the shoulder. In fact, you can see how they keep launching missiles at the raiders in the middle of a road, while civilians continue to drive nearby. Certainly, everything is perfectly safe with zero risk of causing an accident involving their own fellow citizens. One result of the attack and the fires is that now it's raining oil, tar, and dust over Moscow, which continues to portray Russia as a failed state. Blessed by nature with enormous natural resources, its government, instead of improving the living conditions of its people, has dedicated itself to enriching a few, while it squanders the wealth of its nation, which is now turning into smoke and ashes, all with a little help from the Ukrainians. To fight the fires, the invaders are mobilizing all the means at their disposal, including a large number of helicopters from the State Emergency Service, which collect water from the Moskva River and then drop it over the active fire spots. When the missiles launched by the city's defenses fell, they also caused fires in multiple locations, some several kilometers away from the refinery. The work will take a while, so Vladimir, the pilot, needs another bucket of water for his resume. President Zelensky, in a radio interview, sent a warning to Putin. We don't want Ukraine to burn because of the enemy, but if Ukraine burns, Moscow will burn too. This is a warning that should be taken seriously, since, as warned by Mill Blogger Z, an intelligence journal, the city is full of strategic targets that Ukraine can attack if it is forced to do so. On the other hand, these days Ukraine is attending the Eurosatory 2026 Defense Fair, and it's worth noting that this company manufactures Ukraine's long-range cruise missiles. The same ones that visited the Moscow refinery a few hours ago. Given Ukraine's success, the company decided to include on Ukraine's giant screen a video of the results of the incursion.
El que seguramente es.
To avoid Ukraine in an interview, Ukraine is causing the war to flare up. Zelensky announced the company's products. Apparently, the records have turned the company's booth into a huge traffic success, as it is now a must-stop for everyone attending the fair. Come on, you have to admit this is at least dragon-level trolling, and I have to admit I love it. I don't know what you all think, but it seems to me that Ukraine still has several cards left to play. To see more content about the war in Ukraine, visit our 2 new channels where we present information in a different format. Be sure to check them out. Remember to visit our Patreon, where for just $1, you'll have access to a large number of uncensored videos and documentaries. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel.